Hello, Peter. Kíladéjo. So
Hello.
I'm joined by my third speaker. His name is Peter Kíladéjo. He intertwines the concept of realism and surrealism to create works that is inspired by real life events and fictional ideas. Peter uses his art to challenge Africans to embrace their authenticity and document African beliefs and cultural practices. In 2008, Peter received a national diploma degree from Yaba College of Technology, Nigeria. And in 2012, he received a Bachelor's of Arts and Master's of Fine Arts from Obafemi Owoloni University. Welcome, Peter, and we are looking forward to hearing from you.
Hello, good afternoon. Thank you so much. Thank you very much. I'm going to be presenting um, a discourse on man and nature from the artistic perspective because as an artist and a creative, it is, I see all this from a creative angle. And but before I go on to show some of the things I've done in my creative exploration, I'd like to briefly talk about man and nature. The first slide. Man is a natural being that exists and survives around nature all over the world. The survival of man solely depends on his ability to inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. The natural environment is relatively safe until pollution through waste, smoke emissions, chemical waste, and other harmful substances found its way around the environment. The environment needs to be conducive, safe, and litter-free to ensure safety and quality of life. The natural environment of man plays a major role in its survival. A clean and green environment can help sustain good health and quality of life. Plants and trees are essential for pure unpolluted oxygen, which is a key factor for survival of humans. Trees are quite effective in reducing environmental pollution by absorbing unsafe gases that would have been absorbed by man if there were no plants or trees around. A green environment from an artistic perspective. A few years ago, I started a body of work themed man and nature, and the project grew to become a series that I'm currently still working on. The relationship between man and nature is quite unique because man cannot exist without nature. And talking about nature and pollution of the environment, in some climes, it is like the nature of man to not be very conscious of how they take care of their environment or how they are being deliberate about how they do things. So in my own artistic adventures, I've seen that some people are quite carefree about how they treat waste and litter. For instance, while I was doing my master's program, I had to do a project that, you know, focused on using waste, if a sort of way of recycling waste to ensure that instead of it being, littering the whole environment, it could be put into use and a creative, uh, um, something more creative that could, repurpose it sort of to make meaning. I've created paintings that depict the interplay of forms, figures, and nature. Green leaves are visibly captured in my paintings to portray growth, nature, strength, youthfulness, vibrancy, agriculture, and good health. From an artistic point of view, the color green is quite significant. We're talking about a green economy. For me, I see green as quite powerful and symbolic because some of my themes, looking at man and nature from the first slide, from the first picture, I was trying to talk about the interplay of nature and man as a being. We cannot dissociate ourselves from the importance of nature. So in this piece, for instance, the one I titled Black 2, Oil on Canvas, it talks about how humans as natural beings can interact with nature. And if nature is unpolluted, if the green environment is left natural, there's so much benefits. For instance, plants and trees are quite essential to the production of oxygen. And if we take care of them very well, we can be assured of pure oxygen. And they also protect us from inhaling polluted carbon dioxide, polluted oxygen. So if we're deliberate about how we treat our environment, we can, be rest assured of good health. Aside from that, they also provide us with food. the green vegetation, agriculture. We'll talk of agriculture. We'll talk of, what the leaves, what the vegetation does for us as humans. If you look at the second picture, it also talks about Mother Nature. In this particular painting, I was inspired to create this piece to capture the essence of Mother Nature. For instance, if you look at this piece, you see a young woman, giving out. There's this apple just from Mother Nature herself. And then you can see the bird eating the apple, and it could also be related to how we as humans take from nature. The blindfold indicates that the figure in this painting is not really conscious or unbothered about who is taking from her, but rather she is a giver. So what that illustrates is that Mother Nature is a giver, but if we tend to it, if we water it, if we take care of it, and we guard it from any sort of pollution or interference, we are the ones that will in turn enjoy the fruits thereof. So whether from the birds, from humans, we tend to enjoy Mother Nature. Also, the next one talks about humans as soulmates. With the greens, if you look at the Afro hair, for instance, the sunflower blossoming, it talks about the relationship between man and nature, and how, if you look at, for instance, the arm of the figures, the stem of the leaves, tying the ants together, it shows that there's a cordial relationship between man and nature, and it is important for man to nurture what is already abundant to us rather than abuse it and pollute it. So quickly, because of time, let me go to the series that talks about the Man and Nature Playmate series. Sometime ago, I had to go to Kíladéjo community in Ondo State, for some sort of research work with some of my friends, but mine was more of an artistic endeavor. And I was able to see how, people related with nature. It was a community, a riverine community where, they were predominantly fishermen and, fisherwomen and young people. They lived on water. But one thing that stood out for me was that there was so much pollution in the ocean. There was so much desecration. There was so much plastic waste. There was so much litter around that same water. And from my findings, what I was able to observe was that even at that, they still swam in that same water. They still did their fishing in that same water because it's predominantly a fishing, community. Despite the unsafe circumstances surrounding their terrain, the aquatic nature of their terrain, they were dwelling there, drinking, probably, I don't know if they drank this water, but they were bathing in the water because I saw these kids swim in the water. Look at tug of war, for instance. You can see a game, between these young stars, pulling each other inside this water. It shows that there's a relationship between man and nature. However, the emphasis or the concept behind this piece is that we cannot dissociate ourselves from nature. However, we need to be conscious enough to take care of our environment, whether or not it benefits us at the immediate instance. Eventually, we are still beneficiaries of these things. I'm talking about pollution. Some of this plastic waste that are carelessly thrown around find its way into the ocean and eventually becomes microplastic that is harmful to human consumption. Some of this life in the water, the fishes, and that we eventually consume would take in this plastic waste, and it would, when we eventually eat these animals, it will in turn get to our body system. Looking at the next slide, it also emphasizes the need to interact with nature. So my paintings are basically inspired by, the importance of man and nature and how we need to be very deliberate about how we treat our surroundings. There's a picture that talks about recycling of waste. You can see that was during my master's program some couple of years ago. I was working on the theme recycling waste to create art. And from that picture, you can see that I was able to scavenge for waste plastic or nylon around my campus environment to create a portrait painting of three prominent political icons in Nigeria. I was able to use this waste nylon that was discarded and causing pollution around the environment to create this piece. This is also to pass a message across that if we are very deliberate about how we recycle materials, they can be useful. And it doesn't necessarily have to be industrially recycled alone. It could be used to create art. So my own angle in this whole presentation is the art side of creating. Also, to wrap up, I want to talk about the effects of plastic pollution. It causes land pollution, blocks the drainage, and affects lives and properties, causes air pollution, contaminates the soil, contaminates the river and groundwater, and it's also harmful to aquatic animals. In conclusion, the quality of life of humans is determined by their actions or inactions. Conscious efforts should be made to ensure the best quality of life. Green economy is possible and plastic pollution can be eradicated, while sensitization on the need to maintain a safe world should continue. Structures that would ensure proper disposal and recycling of waste needs to be put in place to guarantee a cleaner and safer environment. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Peter, for the lovely presentation. So I'm in South Africa, and during this time, it's my load shedding schedule. So that's why you're seeing a shadow, because I've got my light on. So apologies for that. But thank you so much for the lovely and insightful presentations. I think my key takeaway from today is that the presentations have just made me realize the importance of education, using our skills such as art to communicate the message that we need to take care of our planet, and also to practice being the active participants in the to be active participants in preserving the earth that we live in. So there is a comment, a question that's in that one of our participants has asked. So it says, how can school-based environmental education promote student participation in policy and decision making on climate change and other environmental issues? So any can take it, Dr. Mickey or Peter. I see that we lost Dr. Benjamin.
Over. Can I answer? Art is a veritable tool to address issues. For instance, illustrations through signposts, graphic designs, and texts around the campus could also ensure that people, because even outside the campus environment, people can read. So when there are signposts that would direct people and ensure that they are instructed on what to do, how to properly behave, not to litter the environment. People are guided, and also through paintings like this, we are consciously reminded of the importance of nature and our relationship with nature, and how we should be conscious enough to treat it like it is very important, because of course it is very important, and we need to be deliberate about how we handle everything around us.
Okay, thank you so much, Peter. Dr. Mickey?
Yeah, I think one of the exciting opportunities is that students that are in the programs that we run, they become ambassadors in their schools to talk to other students about some of the things that they're doing. And I mentioned a lot of the green initiatives and products. So putting those things into, again, your everyday life, trying to reduce your plastic footprint, very real solutions on a individual basis, I think is what we see traction with, and we see that going into the schools. We see them implementing, different energy issues with, the schools and the administration, trying to get recycling programs, composting, all kinds of different things have come out of the environmental programs that are in our schools. So it really is fantastic when the students take the reins and run with it and really try to make some differences. And we're always, I think I'm in awe of the creativity that they bring to it. So I think it's great.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Mickey. Just a follow-up on that, on the field of research methodologies that are applied. So the question is, how has this research informed the development of effective solutions?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And I think our goal, I just was explaining how we've expanded our research into the Florida Keys. We received a grant to not only look for plastic pollutions in the environment, but also to try to find solutions with our local community in the way that we utilize our products and waste. So going to restaurants and business owners and talking to them about some of the solutions that are there for them as a business to really reduce their plastic consumption and reduce their plastic for like takeout boxes, food waste, things like that. Have been really instrumental in this new phase of our program. So really trying to get students talking to community leaders and businesses is the next big step that we see on the horizon. And we're really excited to pilot this and kind of see where it goes.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Some parting words. So we have a campaign at the Green Institute that's called Officially Green. What would this Officially Green mean to you? So Peter, you can go, and then Dr. Nikki to close off.
Come again, please.
I beg your pardon?
Come again, please. I didn't hear that.
Okay, so we have a campaign that we're running with at the Green Institute, and it's called Officially Green. So we wanted to find out, what does Officially Green mean to you?
Oh, yes. Thank you very much. Officially Green is, to me as an artist, is a reminder of the need to keep a safe, clean environment that is pollution-free, that is green. Because, like I said earlier, green is quite symbolic for me as an artist. When I think of color green, it talks about nature, it talks about vibrance, it talks about youthfulness, it talks about life, the essence of life. It talks about purity. It talks about agriculture. It makes a whole lot of things that keeps us as human beings going. So Officially Green is a reminder for me to keep the environment clean and keep being healthy, basically.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Dr. Mickey?
Yeah, I would just love to say that, for me, I've spent my life trying to, work to share the responsibility and the opportunity to, really fight for the environment and for, animals on our planet that have every right to survive just as we do. So for that, I am officially green.
Well, thank you so much for the lovely presentations and the lovely insights. Just to close off on my side, there's a quote that I like that says, "We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children." And therefore, this means we need to leave the earth in a very brilliant place than we have found it. Thank you so much, and looking forward to engaging further. Cheers.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye-bye.